Welcome to In the Know, unveiling the greatness in you.
Hey everybody, welcome to In the Know, unveiling the greatness in you. I am your host, Chantel Michelle, the Rich Girl Marketer. Yes, I am so excited to have you on tonight. We've been having a fantastic month. Man, we're already on May 16th. Good gracious, the time is flying. We're already in our 5th month of the Georgian calendar year. You know, the man's calendar, but in God's calendar, this is actually the 2nd month. Read about it. Hey, we've been having some fantastic guests on this month. We've been doing a series called Clubhouse Meets In the Know, or In the Know Meets Clubhouse, however you want to put it. I've met some fantastic individuals on an app that came out in March of 2020 called Clubhouse, and I got on in November of 2020, and I've really met some amazing people. I was very intentional about my time spent on Clubhouse, and really literally, this might sound deep to some of you, I would get on when God would lead, and I will, every time, he never fails. Somebody said he will never fail you, right? So I'm so excited to have tonight. We're going to go into our segments, Gospel Truths, talking about mental health awareness, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. We've seen some things happening already, you know, with mental health, us coming out of the pandemic and kind of peeking out and seeing if it's all clear, right? And, you know, things are getting back to normal, kind of normal, what we call the new normal. So we've been dealing with that, and some heavy things. I got to share my testimony. Go back and watch the show from last week. Coach Kimberly, Vision Coach Kimberly Springer, Colleen Thomas. Those are 2 individuals I met on Clubhouse as well. And we talked about, you will hear more details of some of my story and how I got even some healing through Vision Coach Kim's room. And also we have a guest on tonight who's going to be helping us with friendly advice. She and her partner at the time were definitely in her counseling and certified therapy counseling. And it's another coach, she's the coach. She's all of that in the back. She's the woman of God. I went through the Healing Hearts program. Let's just put a name on it. She's here tonight. She's going to be helping us with our friendly advices, just talking about how to cope as coming out the pandemic and what resources that we can have. As you can see, the suicide prevention hotline, the lifeline, is on the screen. So if you know anybody or you yourself are dealing with thoughts of hopelessness and you understand prayer and you need some extra help, please reach out to somebody. So we're going to be talking more about that in our Gospel Truth. We'll be right back after this. Tag, share, and invite. In the Know 313 on YouTube, In the Know 313 on Facebook, and the one.tv. Get somebody on here. This is going to be an amazing show. More Clubhouse Divine Connections. Clubhouse meets In the Know. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Clap your hands, all ye people. Hey, everybody, welcome back to In the Know, unveiling the greatness in you. I am your hostess with the mostest, Chantel Michelle Jackson. For now, one day that name will change. I always say that. That's my confession. Real soon. Anyway, I am so excited that tonight we're still dealing with the subject. And why you say I'm excited? Because I'm here to help. We're here to help. In the Know 313, we want to make sure you unveil the greatness in you, and you are equipped with what you need. And you may not be able to voice some of these things inside of the 4 walls of a church, but I'm telling you right now, we are here to help you do exactly that. And be able to voice your concern here in the Know. So if you're dealing with any hopelessness, any fear, anything, we want to help you. And some of the ways we can help you is through really addressing the problem or the situation at hand. Mental Health Awareness Month, May 1st through the 31st, and us being already on the 16th. This is a month that has been deemed by our country or national. It's called national. It's mental health awareness. It's a time that we really we need to do it every day, I believe, outside of whatever month. Just really focus on our mental health and helping others with theirs. So tonight we heard some things in the news recently, some weeks ago at the end of April. A great, well-known woman in the entertainment of the gospel, not gospel, but country music, Naomi Judd, took her own life because she was dealing with mental healthness and health issues. And many people are coming, we all are coming out the pandemic, and it's like the ashes. As the dust settles, what are we putting in our sphere of influence? Who are we allowing to speak into our lives? And what I love about this show, and I think it's so befitting that we're talking to people that have, for me, have been a divine connection. And so I just want to encourage you all doing this gospel truth. The gospel truth on tonight is for you. It's okay to seek therapy. It's okay as a Christian entrepreneur, as a Christian, as a woman of God, a man of God, an apostle, a fivefold ministry leader, to go get Jesus, have you some Jesus, and have you some therapy, and have you, even if you need a coach, you need a spiritual advisor. We're talking about somebody that's literally tapping into the realm of the Holy Spirit, God himself, not familiar spirits, someone that you got, a prophet, even a whole prophet, having, you got to have a team these days. You got the God, the Holy Spirit, the Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit. That's your supernatural team. And I believe God puts people on the earth to help us navigate through this life. So it could be your pastor, it could be it could be a prophetic voice that you trust. It could be a counselor. It could be, like I said, a coach, a life coach, a vision coach. For me, it has been all of those things, right? Has been friends that I trust. People that everybody, some of you have walls built up where you don't trust anybody and you isolate yourself. Do not isolate yourself in this season. I am talking to somebody because God is showing me someone is isolating. You say you have the walls, your trust walls have just really been up, like not trusting. Your walls have been up because you don't trust me because of past hurts and pains. But I'm here to tell you that if you just trust God first, he will lead you to the right people. And tonight we're going to be talking to some of them tonight. I want to bring up, we're going to go right into our friendly segment advice on tonight. Friendly advice is a time where that was our gospel truth. So come on, clap your hands, all you people. Clap your hands, all you people. Gospel truth, get you some help. Jesus and therapy works. I am a witness. All right. So that brings me to our next segment, the friendly advice. Friendly advice where I bring on a friend, someone or neighbor, somebody that has helped me, and I believe they can help you too. And I'm going to bring to our show once again a friend of the show, a woman of God, a powerhouse in her own right. And she is medically inclined as well. Naturally, she is equipped. Spiritually, she is equipped, her and her husband. And I want to just publicly thank Martha Rushing of Healing Hearts and Blended as One. Come on and help us talk to the people on why it is important. Hey, Martha.
Hi.
Dr. Martha Rushing, welcome to In the Know once again. Good to see you, beautiful. How are you?
Good to see you as well, beautiful. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited. And I'm excited to talk about this topic.
Is it? Yeah, this is your vein. Yes, absolutely. I called Dr. Martha, kind of spur of the moment. It's like, I need you to come on because God has given me, I didn't realize, shout out to Donnie Francis. She's like, it's mental health awareness. And I was like, oh my God, we got to have Dr. Martha on just to talk about the importance of people having Jesus and a therapist and someone that you can actually talk to and unpack a lot of things. And just go back a little bit. Dr. Martha, I've been knowing you for quite some time, and you have seen my journey, this part of it, as we've known each other, I think now for like probably 7 years, I think.
Yeah, maybe more like 10.
10? It's been, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's been, my gosh, time sure do fly. It's been almost 10 years. And so, in you being in the vein of your profession as a, tell me your profession. I want to get it right.
Psychologist.
That's the one I couldn't think of. She is a psychologist. And honey, I'll never forget. Talk about a little bit about why it's important for, especially us as the body of Christ, to include a psychologist as part of our team.
So I believe that it is very important because we deal with a lot of traumas every single day. And one of the things that God has me working on this month, as it is Mental Health Awareness Month, is dealing with the different traumas. So a lot of times we will deal with fear, we'll deal with the trauma of our past, trauma of past relationships, trauma of church hurt, trauma of different things that people have told us and things like that, and it will affect our relationship and how we believe God. It will affect our relationship on how we receive from God. It'll affect our relationship in order for us to walk in obedience when God gives us an assignment. So God will give us a
Mm.
promise, and we will only believe God in the promise according to the circumstance. So when things are good, we're like, okay, I believe God, we're zealous, all of these things. But then when the circumstances shift, our belief in who God is
Ooh.
and what his ability to do changes. And so that's
Right.
why we have to deal with the fear and trauma that we have in our
Yes.
lives. And we don't even realize also is that our physical bodies wear the fear. It wears sadness. It wears trauma. And so when we go to pray, that's why we get sleepy. That's
Ooh.
why we can't retain what God is telling us. That's why it's sometimes if we have excessive night sweats, it's because of fear, trauma, and sweat and stress that our body is carrying that we need to
Wow.
release.
See, she done learned more stuff since last time. Man, that is good. Wow. Our producer here, like, really? Y'all better call Dr. Martha. Let me tell you, let's go back a little bit of my journey and what was important for me as I began to take this journey of 2021. I call out on you and as a psychologist at that time, Yvonne Skinner, my cousin, shout out to Yvonne Skinner. Healing Hearts definitely was one of the catalysts of my getting healing from past trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Past
Mm-hmm.
trauma. I'll never forget Dr. Martha. Talk a bit of what you can remember. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you tell. I done told it. I'm gonna let you tell what you experienced. Whatever you can say right now in the next few minutes about what you saw then and what you see now. Let's go there.
So I definitely want to personally thank you for trusting Healing Hearts. And at that time I was just a therapist, and God unctioned me and assigned me to go back to school, to go to medical school, to become a psychologist.
Come
And
on.
one of the things that he said was he wanted me to use psychology and tie it in with the word of God so that people can see how they are hindering what he has already released in the realm of the spirit and why they're not manifesting it in the natural. And it's all tied to the psychology of our minds and the things that we carry in our hearts. And so I bring that up to say, even now with your journey, you were holding on to the trauma, you were holding on to the pain, you were holding on to the weight of your past and people pleasing and the things that you didn't see from a God point of view, but you saw
Right.
it from a trauma point of view. And
Right.
so now seeing you where you are now that you've walked through that process, now that you have transformed your mind, you've transformed your heart. And a lot of times people say, well, I'm going to be a better version of me. But we have to go beyond. We have to get ourselves to a place where we have graduated from being a better version of ourselves to being the transformed us. Because being a
Wow.
better version of yourself, you still have the ability to carry residue of the trauma. But when you're completely transformed, like
Yes.
God gave my husband and I the ministry of Butterfly Nation. Butterflies never go back to the caterpillar state.
Come
They are
on.
completely transformed.
Right.
But when you stay in a better version, you can trickle back down into your past and go back to the ground where God just delivered you from.
My God. Clap your hands, all you people. That's my so true. So the transformation stage. That's right. First it started with Butterfly Nation. And they allowed me, even in my broken state and transform. I was in my cocoon, I guess, right? What would you say? Because y'all allowed me to come
Yes.
speak, and I was, girl, woo, I forgot about that. Jesus, I done came a long way.
But we have to know that even in our cocoon state, God can use us because it is in Him using us that He is pulling out of us. So when we're in our cocoon state, we're anchored in the presence of God. We're anchored in the word of God. We're anchored in what God has called us, our true destiny, our true destination, right? But it's in the cocoon that God can use us, because as we're anchored, the anchor is pulling out of us as God is telling us to release. It's releasing in the earth, but it's also pulling out of us the very thing that keeps us in the
Shit.
cocoon.
Come
Because it's in
on.
the cocoon that the butterfly starts to poke out of the cocoon.
Yeah. And
It starts to
transform.
get too
Wow.
it starts to get too big for the cocoon. And so while you're in the cocoon state, that does not mean that God can't use you.
Right.
That does not mean that God will not give you a word to say. It doesn't mean that God will keep you in a place of seclusion. It's just in the cocoon state that God is training you. God is cultivating you, and he's purging you so that you can be released to fly. And
Wow.
so now
Y'all.
you're flying.
Oh my gosh. And I owe a lot to just being, you all were very integral part, you and your husband and Yvonne and her husband, those are my cousins, and just seeing just, wow. You know how I always allude to the Karate Kid. You never, I'm like, what does this got to do? Now it all makes sense. You all invited me to speak on the stage of Butterfly Nation when I didn't even feel like a butterfly. I felt like I felt like an ant, not a roach. I did. That's
Lord, not
right. Not a roach. Okay, maybe not a roach.
no.
You don't have no laughing thing. Not a roach, but I didn't feel like a butterfly. I can tell you that now. But I do. I feel like I'm flying. I feel like God is just doing some things, and I'm still transforming. I'm up leveling. I love what Coach Kim said. She was here last week, up leveling my identity by leaps and bounds, and so have you. You and Lady Yvonne have really just did a transformation as well. And I didn't know you went back to school. Congratulations! Wow,
Thank you.
that is awesome. And talk about what you and your husband are doing with your practice with helping families as well and making marriages great again.
Yes. So what we do is we work with married couples, we work with engaged couples, dating couples, and we get them to the point to give themselves the permission to think differently. And so in thinking differently, understand that we have two imperfect people coming together to
Right.
collide their destiny together and live and walk out the will of God over their life. But it's not going to be easy, because we have this person over here that was raised this way. We have this person over here that was raised this way, and they have differences, but it is in the differences that God will create greatness for them to go forward. And so we teach them how to have their identity, but also be one. How to
Wow.
communicate in
Put her name
themselves,
up.
to have a voice, because it's very important that neither spouse loses who they authentically are. Because yes, they have an identity and they have a purpose and a destiny together, but God
Together.
also has something for them individually to release into the earth. And too oftentimes when we get married, we forget about self. But if we don't fill our own cups up, then we will be living and giving from a place of depletion. And we
Wow.
can't be
Come on, talk about
depleted
it,
trying to
doctor.
love someone else. So if you don't know what
Come
you
on,
want, if
doctor.
you don't know how to love, then you cannot tell somebody else how to love you. And we teach women how to
Girl.
operate in the space of being feminine, how to be a wife. You can be a
Yes.
boss in the street, because I'm a boss at my office.
Right.
You know, you can be
Right.
the CEO, you can wear all the hats, but when you
Help
come
us,
home, your
Lord.
husband don't want a boss.
Right.
Your husband don't want the apostle, the prophet, the pastor. He wants his
Yes.
soft, loving wife to open up her arms and embrace him. Because while he was outside, he was carrying the world. While he was outside, he was making plans on how to provide for his family, how to
Right.
pray, how to intercede, how to take care. So when he comes home, he needs to be able to release the world that he carried outside of the doors. And you need to create a sound that gives him peace when he's in his home.
Girl, clap your hands, all you people. Clap your hands, all you people. That was good. Oh my gosh, Dr. Martha, how can they reach you? Married couples, engaged couples, singles need to hear that. That's good. I feel a sha-na-na.
So on Facebook, my name is Martha Russian. On IG, I am Dr. Martha Rushing. Also on LinkedIn, Dr. Martha Rushing. You can also email me at healinghearts with a S, counselors with a S at gmail.com.
Listen, Dr. Martha Rushing, she a real doctor, so she ain't got that on there. She knows her stuff spiritually and naturally. Thank you again for coming on. We appreciate you with friendly advice. God bless you. Reach out to Dr. Martha. Listen, y'all, she helped your girl. Yes, she did. The Lord used her mightily. Hey everybody, welcome back to In the Know, Unveiling the Greatness in You. Come on, remember, tag, share, and invite someone if you're watching us on. Thank you for the claps. I love the claps. If you're watching us on Facebook, please tag, share, and invite someone. Those are YouTubers. Please subscribe, like. You can like or follow. Is it subscribe? Whatever you do on YouTube, do that. And also you can share it too. In the Know 313. And y'all know all month. I've been talking about candy. So I've been showing y'all some of my favorite candy. Candy is one of my I won't call it an addiction, but it is something that I like to indulge in. So these are Sour Patch Kids. And so you will see me with these today. Right? And also Swedish Fish. Swedish Fish. All right. Y'all need to sponsor. Somebody tell Swedish Fish. Who is these people? Hasbro? Johnson & Johnson? I don't even know who it is. Let me see. I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with the show. I am so excited today to have you all tuning in. I hear like a little feedback, but it's okay. I'm tuning in on today because I have a very, very special guest. Listen, honey, the fact that this man is even on here with his busy self, productive, not busy in a bad way, but productive. I am so excited. But we've been talking all month about Clubhouse and how Clubhouse has really changed some lives. I know it has changed mine. I have met some amazing people on Clubhouse. And you always got to give honor where honor is due. Listen, the next person you're getting ready to meet, they call him the $1 billion brand man, the automation apostle. Listen, also, he's the founder of the Black CEO, a team of experts, speakers, trainers, and facilitators who propel Black entrepreneurs from hustle mode to CEO mode. Isn't that something? I love that. Recently, the Black Affiliates Launch Network was born, which helps Black businesses create 7-figure plus outcomes through organic relationships, building, and masterminding. Trevor Ott is unapologetically Black and loves his people. I love it. He is proud to say his superpower is branding and marketing. And he is sometimes referred to as the automation apostle. Somebody say, can we get a clap? Can I have the clap theme so I can do it myself? I'm just playing. All right, so listen, he is the reason why I was introduced to Clubhouse. Literally, he texted me one day, was like, get on this app. I'm like, okay. And because I know he knows a lot about the digital world, I obliged. And I got on there, and like I told y'all a couple of weeks before, when I got on there, I didn't know what it was about. And then November 2020, I got COVID, and then I ain't had nothing else to do. I wasn't sick. Thank you. I mean, they said I had COVID, but I literally had no symptoms, and I was bored because I had to stay in the house for 20 days. I stayed 20 days in the house. So I got on Clubhouse, and it was a wrap. I met so many amazing people, and so far you've already got to see a couple of them, Twyla Brown, also the master teacher Twyla Brown, vision coach Kimberly Springer, and now today on this Monday night, come on y'all, clap it up. We're going to present to some and introduce to others, none other than the automation apostle, the $1 billion brand man himself, Mr. Trevor, CEO Otts. It's your girl Chantel Michelle of Rich Girl Marketing and Solutions, where we help ministry leaders, entrepreneurs and growing businesses up-level their media, their marketing, and their brand to make impact. We can help you today. Give us a call for a free consultation and also a brand analysis or even a snapshot of your digital presence. We can help you up-level your media, your marketing, and your brand to make impact.
This program has been brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm, former prosecutor and experienced aggressive criminal defense attorney, specializing in violent crimes, drug crimes, weapon crimes, murder, fraud, white-collar crimes, DUI, and much more. Fighting vigorously to win every case at trial. Call 248-545-5290. Call the offices of Marquardt now.
Hey Trevor, welcome to In the Know, Unveiling the Greatness in You. I am so excited to have you on today. Listen, I was just telling our viewers how that they call you the $1 billion brand man. They call you the marketing expert, the automation apostle. Tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you do it.
Well, today they're gonna call me the dude with no haircut. But don't worry, I still do marketing, right? Literally, we build black brands.
Yes.
And that's really what it's all about. And here's what I know about a black brand. Anytime you see somebody with a black brand, it is an extension of that person's fight with the world. Their fight to be heard, their fight to be seen, their fight to be respected, their fight to be paid what they're worth. Right? It's their fight with the world. And so every black brand represents that person's fight with the world.
Wow.
And which is very different than if you're a white entrepreneur. Right? It's very different. Right? Because your brand doesn't really represent that struggle. And so we build black brands that understand that struggle, and we understand how that struggle, that fight has morphed into what you really call your business, your black business. And so that's what Black CEO is all about.
Love it. I love it. Come on, let's clap it up for Black CEO and what they represent. So how long has Black CEO been in existence? What made you concentrate? I know you just said it, being heard, being seen as a black brand. Why are you so passionate about that in itself, and how did Black CEO get started?
Black CEO officially launched in 2014, and it was really it was a growth project. It started out. We started out as Peak Performance Institute, and we wanted to do business with anybody and everybody.
Okay.
And then one day we looked up and was like, "Wow, our business does business with anybody and everybody." 99.99999% of people that we get look just like us.
That's good.
And one day I was at the Ultimate Marketers Conference, and we were receiving an award, and it was in Scottsdale, Arizona. And all of the top marketers from all around the world were invited into this one event to be celebrated and to share their tips and all this kind of good stuff.
Right.
And so it was about maybe 75 to 100 of us in the room. And my business partner, Che Brown, and myself, we arrived late because our flight was delayed. And we went through like 3 delays, and then we finally, the next morning, they got us to the location. And so we arrived on site late. And so we had to sit in the very back of the room. So we were in like the last row of tables and the last seat. And so when we walked into the room, they had just started letting people introduce themselves. And every single person, by the way, me and Shay were the only black people in the whole room.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
I mean, we were pepper. Um, everybody had to get up and introduce themselves. Now, the first lesson I learned is never go to an event and say everybody stand up and introduce themselves, because that's going to be like an hour and a half. So everybody's standing up. My name is blankety blank. I'm one of the greatest marketers of all time. I'm so happy to be here, and I help people make more money with less effort. Then person number two got it. Hi, my name is Australia. Right? I'm a marketer. I love what I do. I help people make more money with less effort. And then another person got up and they say, hi, my name is such and such. I'm from Canada. I'm a marketer, and I literally help people make more money with less effort. And man, this went on and on. This went on and on. This had to be like about 90 minutes to like 2 hours of people just standing up and introducing themselves.
What?
And so, me and Shay are sitting in the back of the room, and Shay is sitting to my left. So eventually, they get up to Shay. They say, Shay. They say, my name is Shay Brown, right? And I help people make more money with less effort. I knew in my heart of heart that
He was not saying that.
But I was the last person in the room.
Wow.
It was the first time I said it. I said, my name is Trevor. I'm from the Peak Performance Institute. And we work with Black entrepreneurs, Black speakers, and Black professionals. We help them show up in a way that causes their authentic voice to be understood, respected, and celebrated in the world, right? We help them market their Black businesses in such a way that it creates impact in their bank accounts, but also impact in their lives and the communities in which they represent. I said something like that. I'm sure it's a little bit more eloquently laid out now. But what I basically said is I work with Black folks. It's the first time I'd ever said it.
Wow.
Right? Because I realized in that moment that everybody worked with everybody. So this is what happened. And this was the moment that was the breakthrough. We weren't even Black CEO then. We were still Peak Performance Institute. I was the last person to go. They had spent 2 hours doing this. So they said, okay, we're going to take a break. When we took a break, because I was the last person to go,
right? They
took a break, and I had a line of people waiting to talk to me from here to the back of the room.
Wow.
And I spent all them years, decades, trying to work with everybody else, never realizing that the gold mine was right in front of me. And literally, they were like, oh, you work with Black entrepreneurs? How can we get connected to your tribe?
Wow.
Oh, you work with Black speakers? I am looking for Black speakers to speak on my platform. We had a line from here to the back of the room. And from that moment on, right, we had identified our target audience. And so I learned 2 lessons there, and I hope everybody takes this away. Number one, your message is not for everybody. It's for somebody. Your product is not for everybody. It's for somebody. And I want everybody to hear that. I don't care what color you are. You need to know that. Number 2, if everybody else is doing one thing, do exactly the opposite. And it's called the traffic jam effect. Wow. And traffic jams, one day I just thought about, why the heck do people get in traffic jams? And why do so many people do it? Because how does a traffic jam happen? You get a whole bunch of people going to the same place at the exact same time. And what you get is a traffic jam. And so a lot of people are stuck in their businesses, stuck in their mindset, stuck in their life, stuck in their relationship. You know why? Because they all the same. They all trying to go to the same place, right, at the same time, right, trying to do it the same way, and they end up in a traffic jam. And so you got to be careful of that. So you got to be willing to do a different thing, right? You got to be willing to do your own thing.
I love it.
Right? Because basically God didn't make you to be the same. He made you to be an original. Right, and you have to stop trying to fit in sometimes, and stop trying to be a fit inpreneur and start trying to be a fit outpreneur. Right, and work on that. And then the last thing, if you're not known for anything, focus on one thing. And only after you have mastered that one thing do you have permission to focus on another thing. Right, and so what starts to happen is we start focusing on everything. What you do? I work with this person, that person, and this person. Well, how you do it? I do it this way, that way, and this way. You do marketing, sales, branding, automation, help people speak, right? You fold down the sheets when they go to, you do everything. You're not known for anything. Focus on one thing. That's and good. Only after you have mastered that one thing do you have permission to add on another thing. Remember, Amazon made $1 billion selling books before they ever created another product. There was no
That is so
Amazon Fire
true.
Phone. There was no Amazon Fire Stick. There was not even the Amazon website store that we know of today. There was no what is it, Alexa. There was none of that.
Right. That's so
Right?
true.
But they made $1 billion selling books first. And what
Yeah.
happens is we don't want to do the one thing. We want to do everything. And really, we really have to get into finishing the one thing. And so Black CEO became this mission to help Black entrepreneurs finish the businesses they started, finish what they dreamed about. And it has spiritual connotation to it, Here's what I tell anybody, people ask us all the time, well, what's the return on investment? We don't even believe in return on investment. And most people
wow.
who say it only say it because they heard everybody else
Yeah,
say it.
absolutely.
Right? They going after it because everybody else is going after it. So they doing the whole traffic jam thing.
Right.
But to give you a little bit of disruption, to be a little different,
Come on.
what you really after in the spiritual context, because let me just say this, wealth is spiritual.
Yes,
And
it
everybody
is.
keep trying to get away with it. But I don't care how many different people you get to talk about wealth, from Elon Musk to Bill Gates himself. I don't care if it's Warren Buffett. They always come back to the number one spiritual principle, which is in every spiritual text you want to read anywhere in the world, from the Bible to the Quran. Doesn't matter. It's going to say one spiritual principle. It's never going to be avoided. Sow and reap. It's a spiritual principle. It's a spiritual principle.
Yep.
So you better know when you build the businesses, because nobody builds a business to be poor. People build businesses
right.
to get wealthy.
Right.
And so we talk about wealth. Wealth is spiritual. So sow and reap is the primary principle of that. And so what starts to happen is you're not looking for a return on your investment. That's the fool's move, because that's like gambling. Right? That's like, if I put in $20, can I get out $100? Right? Hey, that's
Right.
my song came on.
Right. Your theme song.
Theme song, right? But what you really looking for is, you're really looking for a return on finish, right? Because finishing is spiritual, and wealth is spiritual, right?
Yeah.
And when you finish things in your life, what you create is wealth. Because, and I want y'all to write this down. You might not remember anything I say today. You might not remember anything. You might not even remember my name. But remember this: it is impossible for anything that you finish to return unto you void. It is impossible for anything that you finish
Trevor.
to return unto you
That's
void.
good.
But everything that you leave unfinished as it pertains to your purpose will return unto you as a deficit. And so if powerful people ask powerful questions, because all of the powerful people that's listening today, the question that you got to ask yourself is, what didn't you finish that's creating the deficit in your life? What didn't you finish that's creating the deficit in your business? What didn't you finish that's creating the deficit in your relationships? What didn't you finish that's creating the deficit in your bank account? Because it's impossible for anything that you finish to return unto you void, but everything that you leave unfinished as it pertains to your purpose will return unto you as a deficit. You don't believe it? Listen, God created the earth 7 days, depending on your beliefs. I'm not trying to tell you what to believe, but at the end, he said it is done. It is finished. Right? I'm a Christian.
Come on, we got to clap on that. We got to clap on that. That's good.
Hope you don't mind me bringing it down, but Jesus is hanging on the cross. And with his last breath, what does he say? It is done. You know what entrepreneurs struggle with? They're like, what is my purpose? I can help y'all all fix that right now. Every person on the planet Earth, every entrepreneur, you got one purpose. It's to finish. The question is, what do you need to finish?
Oh
the
my
mission.
God, this is good.
So it's not a question about your purpose. The real question is, what is your mission? Your purpose is to finish. Your mission is what it's all about. So I like to think about your mission like I think about 007, right? 007, James Bond. You see a James Bond movie, the movie always start out the same way, right? They show James Bond, all that kind of good stuff, and eventually he get that little phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Your mission. Yeah. Yeah. If you choose to accept it, yeah.
Come on, sir.
I'm choosing to accept it.
Right.
And then he says yes, and then he say, listen, they say this message will explode, right? So they telling you ain't got all day to be working on this mission. This is your mission. This is purpose calling you. This is God calling you. This is your calling calling you. This is your business calling you. If you choose to accept this mission to build something for future generations, to create impact in the world, to create legacy, if you choose to accept this mission, and then what you see, James Bond accepted the mission.
Right.
And what's so crazy is like you start to see this dude jumping out of planes and disarming bombs and fighting bad
Come on.
guys.
Come on.
Coming down trees and skiing down mountains. You see this dude jumping, driving cars backwards down roads, doing all kind of crazy stuff. Because he's going to do whatever it took to complete the mission. Why?
Wow.
Because he accepted the mission. And see, some of y'all entrepreneurs out there, y'all ain't accept the mission. You ain't accept the mission. Because if you accepted the mission, it would show up in your action. If you accepted the mission, you would do whatever it took to complete the mission. You can see when people accepted the mission. And so let me make it clear, right?
Wow.
The purpose is simple. Finish.
Right?
The mission is the real question. And the mission is the reason why you started your business. Because that's why when they if you go to any listen, for those of y'all, my smart people, my educated people, my MBA people, all that, listen, when y'all do your business plan, you know the first thing they make you write? Your mission statement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how you like to work it. It's still gonna come back to the mission.
Yeah,
and then you gotta accept the mission.
Wow.
So what is the mission of Black CEO? To help Black entrepreneurs finish what they started. Why? Because I don't want them to get a return on investment. I want them to get a return on finish. Why? Because I know that it's completely impossible for anything that they finish to return unto them void. But I know that everything that they leave unfinished will return unto them as a deficit. We evaluate the deficits, find out what you didn't finish, and get you back on mission. That's what it's all about. So to all my entrepreneurs out there today, I don't care whether you made $1 million or $1. Get back on mission. Start to finish. Look in your life and ask yourself what did not finish. Then ask yourself, who do I need to help me finish? Then ask yourself, what tools do I need to get finished? Then ask yourself, when am I going to finish it? Then ask yourself, how am I going to get to finish it? How am I going to finish it? You're asking the how, you're asking about the systems. You're talking about the when and the where. You're talking about the strategy. You're asking about the what tools do you need? Those are whether you buying your ClickFunnels, your WordPress, if you're a plumber, right? I need a truck. It's what tools do you need?
That's good.
Wow. Who's gonna hold you accountable, right? Who's gonna do the work, right? And see, this is the things that we got to think about. Because here's what I know, and I hope you're writing this down. The number one problem facing today's Black entrepreneur is an addiction to our labor as the primary mechanism.
You better say that.
Generate revenue.
Right.
And so the reason why we get so addicted to our labor is because we haven't finished our system. We haven't finished building our businesses. We haven't finished building out our sales system. Like there's a whole bunch of things that we left unfinished. And so because we didn't finish our systems, we can't get somebody else to do it. So we got to do it. Right. Wow. And so some of y'all watching today, you feel overworked and you feel overpaid. Right. And the reason why you overwork and underpaid has got nothing to do with your clients or your customers. It got everything to do with the systems that you left incomplete. Because you can start a business with your labor, but you can only build the business with somebody else's labor.
Stop right there. So Trevor, so you are definitely advocating that teams need to be in place and systems need to be put in place, because that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, whether you're Black, white, green, blue, that is the breakdown. That is so true. Y'all clap it up because he's preaching up in here. He is preaching up in here. That's good.
We kind of all start a business with our own labor, right?
Right.
But you build the business with somebody else's labor.
Say that again. Say that again.
Your labor, but you got to build the business with somebody else's labor. Right? And so we always talk about, I'm Black. I've been Black all my life. And you know what we say when we talking, like, Chinese food restaurant, they hire their own. Okay, they should. You don't know why? Because you can start a business. You can start a business with your own labor, but you got to build a business with somebody else's labor. So they went and hired their own, right? And so what happens is, see, it's all about who doing the work, right? And so first, you got to put other people to work. Then you got to put your money to work. And the more people that you put to work, the less you're going to have to work. And the more you put your money to work, the less you're going to have to work. But if you don't put people to work and you don't put money to work, then you got to work. And thus, right? That is thus right then you already locked into the sonnet or of an employee, right? And
Yeah.
so you got to
Period.
break your addiction to your labor, because the average entrepreneur has habits that they haven't broken up with, and that's why their dreams go up in flames.
Jeez.
Because
Wow.
you gotta break up, right? You gotta do some breakup. Some people, we keep talking about all these toxic relationships. Sometimes the toxic relationship you talk
Is
about
yourself.
is you. Sometimes you the toxic relationship, right? Because it's any belief
Ooh.
that does not lead to growth is toxic. Any conversation that does not lead to growth is toxic. Any mindset that does not lead to growth is toxic, right? Any relationship, any conversation, any mindset, any friendship, if they don't lead to growth, they toxic. So
That's
for
true.
many of us,
That's true.
right, those toxic relationships that we need to leave are internal. We gotta do some breaking up. So it's funny because if you ever get divorced, they call it a divorce decree. We decree that we have broken up with this thing, right? So today I'm asking y'all the question is, I decree that I've broken up with what bad habits, right? I decree that I've broken up with which relationships that don't serve
This
me.
man
I
is amazing.
decree that I've broken up with procrastination. I decree that I've broken
Come
up
on here.
with a self-serving mindset, right? So you're gonna have to write your divorce decree, right? Because let me tell you something. People ain't the only thing that you can divorce.
Right. That's true.
And so a lot of times we holding on to a whole lot of baggage, right? That's weighing us down as we're trying to really get into the stratosphere of success. And so this is what Black CEO is about. But this is really, and even we're not talking about a Black CEO, a green CEO, a
Right.
corn CEO, a white CEO.
Right.
The facts are still the facts. You got to finish some things. And in order to finish, you're going to have to break up with some things.
Wow.
And you need to start thinking about, it's really, and let me tell y'all this, is that no matter how much effort you put in, you're going to always fall back to the level of your mindset.
That's true. That is
Always,
good.
because the body will not operate in opposition to the mind.
Come
Right?
on.
The body will not operate in opposition to the mind.
Right.
Because here's what I know. Wherever you are in life, your mind got there first.
That's true.
Wherever you are in life, your mind got there first. And if your mind ain't there, you ain't going either. You can talk that jazz. You can
That's
talk that
true.
trash. You can put the suit on. You can show up at the conference.
Come on.
You can sound like $1
Say
million
it,
bucks.
Trevor.
You can rock that social media, and everybody think you got it going on. But here's what I know: wherever you are in life, your mind got there first. If your mind ain't there, you ain't going either. And so what happens is, if you put your mind in a place, right, where you always watching, let's just say, not to judge somebody's salacious TV, but let's just say you're watching Housewives of Atlanta, right? And then you put your mind in a place where drama shows up, and your life is going to show up in that same place.
Come on,
'Cause wherever you are in life, your mind got there.
That is so true. Leading me to the basis of this show. Yes, we're talking about, I wanted people to know who you are. Some of our viewers already know and some may not. So y'all, here's the Black CEO. Here's the $1 billion, indeed, why we call him the $1 billion brand man, the automation apostle, because he preaches up in here. But leading to why our show was named Divine Connections, and also Clubhouse meeting in the know, because Clubhouse, literally, I met so many great people on there, didn't know what it was. You introduced it to me. I'll never forget you said, you need to get on this app. I got on the app, and literally my life changed.
But you know why we told you to get on why I told you to get on the app?
No, sorry, I don't. But thank you. I publicly want to thank you.
No worries. You have, thank you so much. You're welcome. Here's the thing. The principle, because see, it's principle, process, strategy, action. Everybody write that down. PPSA. Principle, process, strategy, action. First comes the principle, then comes the process, then comes the strategy, last comes the action. PPSA. You run your life on this principle. You run your business on this principle. You will be wealthy. But the principle that we use is that there's more money in what you know than what you do. Right? And so you needed a platform where you could share what you know, so that you can break your addiction to labor, right? And start to literally monetize that knowledge, right? That represents all of your experiences, represents all of that skills, those skills that you have, right? That represents all of that knowledge that you've acquired, right? Because there's more money in what you know than what you do. And when you look at, see, there's so many times that we tell people to do stuff, and there's so many times that people tell us to do stuff, but when it comes down to it, it first comes to principle. Like the principle is the underpinning beliefs that drive your decision making and the action that you take. So it's why am I doing this? In the simplest form, and make it real simple. It start with why. Right? Simon Sinek wrote a very good book called Start With Why. Matter of fact, one of my favorite reads. And then comes the process. The process is a systematic, hear me out, systematic plan and development, write this down, based upon principle, systematic plan based upon principle, because first comes the principle, a systematic plan based upon principles designed to produce a specific result.
Wow.
And so in its truest form, the process just represents the how.
Yeah.
So first comes the principle, then comes the process. First comes the why, then comes the how. Right? Sing the song, just like you sing your ABCs. First comes the principle, then comes the process.
Right.
First comes the why, then comes the how. Right? And then comes the strategy. The strategy is the most effective and efficient way to execute. It's the most effective and efficient way to execute the processes in my business based upon principles. It's the most effective and efficient way to execute the processes in my life based upon principles, based upon the truth, right? In its truest form, when you get to principle, process, strategy just is simplest is tell me when and where. When should I do this thing? Where should I do this thing? Strategy. And then last comes the action. What is action? That which is necessary. That which is necessary. That which is necessary. Keyword there, necessary.
Right.
To strategically execute the processes in my business based upon principles, based upon truth. Principle, process, strategy, action. Action in its truest form is just the what? First comes the principle, then comes the process, then comes the strategy, right? And last comes the action. First comes the why, then comes the how, then comes the when and the where, and then comes the what, right? You run your business like this. You run your stops. Let me tell you the biggest thing I ever saw. The biggest mistake I ever saw in a lot of these spaces. They would tell you how. This is how you do something. You do it. This is step 1, step 2, step 3. And then this is what I want you to do. They gave you the P and they gave you the A. They gave you the process and then they gave you the action. Here's how I want you to do it. Here's what I want you to pay. Here's how I want you to do it. I want you to swipe your credit card. Right.
Right.
I call it a credit card terrorist. Right. Right. They always got something they tell you how to do something, and then they really telling you this is what I want you to do. The problem is you ain't telling me why to do it. So watch. So if you do something that somebody tells you how to do, and you don't know why you're doing it, there's only a couple of reasons why you're doing it. Your ego, right? Or right, you doing it based upon their celebrity status. But let me tell you something: their fame don't equal your fortune.
Right.
Right.
Come on.
Or you're doing it because you're emotionally driven.
Right. That's good.
It's emotionally driven. But you shouldn't be doing things based upon your ego, based upon your pride, or their celebrity status. You should be doing it based upon principles, the truth, the underpinning belief that drives your decision making and the action that you take. So what happens is you listen to people and you get part of the story. Powerful people ask powerful questions. Go back and ask for the rest of the story. Right. You told me the process, you told me the action, but what you didn't tell me was the when and the where. So tell me, when should I execute this? Where should I execute this? You told me what to do. Right? You told me how to do it, but you didn't tell me the principle. What is the principle driving this particular decision that you want me to make in my life, this particular action? Because it's principle, process, strategy, action. And so when it comes down to entrepreneurship, we always want to get to the fun part. What should I market? What should I sell? What's going to be my brand? What's going to be my logo? When I'm going to launch? What about my website? You can build all that stuff, but if your foundation, and this sounds like a broken record, if your foundation is not set up right to begin with, here's what's going to happen. You might have some success, but eventually you're going to have to rebuild everything you start. You're going to have to go all the way back to the beginning to get it right. Right? Because all of a sudden, as you start to get to higher levels, your business starts to break down. And you get to the next level and it break down again. And when your business break down, It's because you got to go back and finish something that you didn't complete to begin with. That's why I told you that it's impossible for
Mindset.
anything to return unto you void. But everything that you leave unfinished is going to return
As
unto
a
you
deficit.
as a deficit.
Yes,
Right?
you're right.
That's why some of y'all got kids that come back to your house and ain't got no job because you got
You went there.
right? I don't care what it is, you gonna
That's
finish it,
funny.
it's coming back. Well, everybody write that down. If you don't finish it, it's
coming back. Oh my goodness. Clap it up, y'all. Trevor Ice is in the building. Right here in the Know, unveiling the greatness in you. Trevor, what would you say to that entrepreneur as we wrap up that actually is in this state and they need to get out of fear, they need to get out of procrastination? Some of the things you said is starting the mind. I love what you talked about the mind, because it is wherever you are now, your mind took you there first. So talk about that a little bit more as we wrap up and why they need to connect.
Yeah, I can make it real simple. Listen, CEO is a leadership title. It is a type of leadership, right? And I'm gonna tell you two things that you should always know. Number one, entrepreneurship is like a license to print money. So an entrepreneur is never afraid of the cost of something, because
That's
entrepreneurship is literally a license to print money, right? You know, when an entrepreneur ain't got it, they go get it. When an entrepreneur ain't got it, they go get it.
Come on here.
So if your natural inclination is when you ain't got it, your natural inclination is not to figure out a way to get it, you ain't an entrepreneur. Go get a job.
Sir!
Right?
Somebody play the shout music. I'm about to shout.
Because entrepreneurs, motivation ain't what you see. Entrepreneurs wake up motivated.
Right.
And here's the thing. CEO is a type of leadership. It means
Come on,
you
sir.
have designated yourself as a leader of your organization who then leads other people, because you're a leader of one before you're a leader of many. But here's what you got to know, right? A leader operates in opposition to their fear, not in conjunction with their fear. A leader operates in opposition to their fears, not in concert with their fears. And so what happens is, if you are the type of person that operates in concert with your fear, if you're the type of person that operates in conjunction with your fear, and the language, it comes right out of your language. Well, how do I know? And can you guarantee? And no, ain't no guarantees. By the way, there ain't no such thing as learning how to ride a bike without falling off. So there ain't no such thing as learning how to run a business without falling sometimes. So if you are skittish, if you are afraid, if you like to operate in conjunction with your fears, right, you have already lost, right? You have already given up, because you are operating in conjunction with your fears. A leader operates in opposition to their fear.
Come on.
Not that they don't have fears, is that they operate in opposition to their fears. And so the leader in you has got to rise up. Now, here's the thing. You want to know what gives leaders courage? You want to know what gives leaders courage? Purpose.
Purpose.
So here's what I'll say to you. Choose purpose over fear. Win every time. Choose purpose over fear. Win every time. Choose purpose over fear. Win every time.
Wow.
It takes courage to be an entrepreneur. It takes courage to be a leader. It takes courage to do something different than the other people around you have chosen. Everybody ain't an entrepreneur. And it's less of them than probably anybody in the world. Right? So find that courage. Right? Tap into your purpose. Right? And connect with someone, right? Some relationship, whether it's a coaching group, whether it's Black CEO, but get connected with somebody who is not just teaching you how to do something, but you want to get with somebody. Right. See, a coach is really a type of expert, right? But you really want to deal with a master, right? And what you want to deal with somebody who has mastered the principles that govern success.
Come on.
Right? And so a lot of times what we are after is you're still dealing with coaches when you probably need to start dealing with some visionaries, right? And you got to know the difference between a master and a coach. Coaches deal specifically in processes. They know exactly what processes. They have mastered very specific processes to produce a specific result. But while they may have mastered the process, they may not they may not have mastered the principle. They just keep doing it a certain way. So they can tell you that this is the way to do it. But to get to that level in your business, you got to know why things work.
Right.
Why things are this way. And so what you want to do is you want to start studying with masters, right? You want to look for people who have mastery. Mastery of what? They have mastery over the spiritual principles that govern success. You get that, you get to the next level.
Boy,
mastery over the spiritual principles that govern success.
Up in here. Thank
over to you.
That is so amazing, Trevor. Oh man, so many nuggets you gave tonight, and I hope everyone watching, y'all need to go back and, like, if you were not taking notes, you need to really go back and replay this, because he gave some powerful nuggets. Because powerful people ask powerful questions. Definitely